You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
What's up, everyone? Benny Gold here, founder of Lawyer Stories and host of the Lawyer Stories podcast. I'm truly grateful to have Adaptabar sponsor this podcast episode for us. Why? Because when I took the bar exam and needed help with the multi-state bar examination, I used Adaptabar and I passed. Adaptabar is an online MBE program, and one thing I loved about the program are the authentic MBE questions paired with an adaptive algorithm that is proven to accurately predict your MBE score. I remember when I sat for the MPRE, I needed to see questions written like they were going to appear on the actual exam, and Adaptabar had everything I needed to pass the MBE. Please contact me anytime with questions about the program and to discuss my success with Adaptabar. You may use promo code LS20, that's LS20, for $30 off your enrollment with Adaptabar. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold, episode 13. Good to have you all with us. Today we have a special guest, Nicole Stanton Nash, a founding partner at Stanton Worthy in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How couldn't I have you, Nicole? Seriously, we like have never really met or done anything like virtually like meeting but we have spoken on Instagram because you are a true original of Lawyer Stories. So we founded Lawyer Stories July 8th, 2017 on one summer day. August 7th, 2017, we featured you. So like that was less than a month. So you are a true Lawyer Stories original, and it's definitely our honor to have you on here and share your story in a little more detail. So thanks for being here and taking the time.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I've seen the journey from August, July 2017 to now, and it's I feel like we've been on the journey together.
Yeah, totally. And I appreciate your support. You're always there, not throw ideas off of, and you're active on social media. And thank you very much. Like we really appreciate it. So before we jump in, I have to ask you a question. I do have some like loose ties to Michigan. I have a couple friends who go blue. So you went to Michigan undergrad. And
yes.
You went
go
to
blue.
Okay, go blue. But you went to Michigan State Law. So how do we reconcile the two? Like, who are you rooting for when they play each other? Or, what's the situation? Michigan. Okay. That was like without even a flinch.
Michigan. I had to go where the best opportunity was for me in Michigan State. And the moment I decided I wanted to go to law school, there wasn't a wait list or anything, and Michigan State had the best opportunity. My brother was an undergrad there, so that was cool at the time. And I wore all my Michigan gear, and people knew, and still know to this day, that I bleed maize and blue. But it was awesome. Had a good time there. Some really rough times. And
I had to imagine it was like a conversation starter though, like at Michigan State. I don't know, like
I took a lot of heat.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's actually the law school that my dad went to as well before it was Michigan State, when it was Detroit College of Law.
Wow.
And then they moved on and combined with Michigan State, and then became Michigan State College of Law.
So did you want to go there? So you're kind of a legacy then to the school in a way, right? Like, did you?
Yeah, I guess I think about that.
Yeah.
Look at his, because I was born when my dad was in law school, and I used to look at his picture every time I took an exam. He told me two things. Look at my picture, to wash my hands before an exam, like I'm going into surgery. So I'd wash my hands for every exam and then go look at his pictures. We had some of the same professors.
Oh, really? He washed his hands before he went into
Yep.
I like that.
Before
You know what?
Tuesday.
Can we, is your dad, like, does he still practice?
Mhm.
I want to feature your dad. Lawyer Stories wants to feature your dad. Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll talk. We could go ahead. Go ahead.
Stanton he's a true force. That would be that would be great. He's been training me from day one as to be, who I am today. Part of that's a lawyer. So absolutely, I'll ask him and he'll say yes.
Yeah, well, he did a great job. So congratulations on doing what you do.
Thanks.
So, all right, so you're Go Blue. All right, that we have that out off the. We cleared the air with that. All good. So, like, one thing I'm really interested in, and really kind of like prompted me to start Lawyer Stories, and it's just something. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's just something I'm curious in, and I usually ask my guests is like, when did you have that moment? I know you say when you were young, like, your dad was a lawyer and like you were sort of just like gunning for it all along. But did you have another moment where you were like, I'm going to be a lawyer. This is definitely confirms what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to law school. Like, when was that moment for Nicole?
I actually did. It was right after I graduated from undergrad at Michigan. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I knew law school was in there some point. My dad had me work in the office. He would always talk to me. I actually worked for him, and he fired me. I was 16. The man is serious. He wanted me to
so either you were taking too many supplies out of the supply closet.
Yeah, I said
long lunch, right? Okay.
I'm gonna have my own. He had his own business. He went to school, got his MBA, and then he started to go to law school later in life, and he had his own business. So I saw his entrepreneurial path, and so I decided what I wanted to do. So I actually got my real estate license in Michigan, and I was going to go that route. Got offered a job at a big real estate firm, and I was still thinking about law school, and my parents said, "Hey, we're going on this cruise for a month all over Europe. You going to law school, or do you want to come?" I said, "I'm coming with y'all."
Okay.
So that year I took off. I worked, did the real estate thing. I just wasn't feeling right. But then we went on the cruise.
Okay.
And I had applied to some law schools, got accepted, waitlisted, so on and so forth. But I hadn't decided what I was going to do yet because I had both of these paths. So I really had to figure out what I wanted to do. So we're on the cruise. We're literally in the middle of the world, in the middle of the ocean, and my dad answers his cell phone. Phone rings, he answers it. I'm like, how is this man answering his cell phone? Maybe we weren't right in the middle of the ocean, but we were on the boat. And he answers the phone. He's, why am I doing this? He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, yeah, you have a great one. And he hangs up. I said, Daddy, who are you talking to? He said, oh, that was just one of my clients. They were calling. I wanted to pick up. They're just calling, telling me thank you for some stuff I helped them with. And he just said it so, carefree. And I saw a smirk on his face. And I just thought, I want to be that for someone. I want to do that.
So you wanted to help somebody and have that feeling of like accomplishment that you helped somebody through a situation. And, they were showing some gratitude. Like they called you and, you
right.
You like that. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. You just articulated exactly what I was going to say.
So, yeah. I mean, a lot of us, we do look up to our parents. So that's a good, I think that's great. So he's a big role model of yours. That's terrific. So you had a moment, and that was after college, you said, after Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was during my year off where I was still working and, got the real estate license and so on. And, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
Did you sell any houses?
No. See,
okay.
No. I can't remember what I want to do.
So Michigan, what did you major in?
I just didn't like it. I'm sorry.
What did you major in at Michigan?
English.
Okay.
English and actually film and video studies was a minor.
Interesting. Okay.
I was really, I thought I used to sing, I used to act, I used to do all that. So I said, this all clicked. Being a lawyer, I can put all that. Maybe not the singing as much.
True. Yeah.
The performance or talking to people, a real performance. Not acting or faking.
Right.
And just that moment where I realized that's the path I want to take, and that was going to lead me further on fulfilling my purpose in life. When I saw my dad, I just felt like that encompassed my life and who I was, and it would allow me to just be who I was. So I got my real estate license and was working in retail and didn't do anything with it. But I got offered the job, and it was supposed to start when I was going to start law school. So I didn't do anything with it. I got it. I learned a lot. But it just wasn't the path for me.
Right. So, but it just felt right when you thought about, like, I'm going to law school. So all right. So that's awesome. So
little did I know that it would kick my butt.
So tell us about law school. Like, that's something I'm also interested in, people's law school experience. So you get to law school. Like, what was the challenge, or like, what was something that right away you noticed that you were, you were in for it, or, so people could sit there, read a book and just like be done with it for the night. But tell me about it. Like, what was the first thing that you noticed when you were there that might have been
Well, the first thing I noticed is that everyone here is, not that I thought anyone wasn't smart, but everyone here is smart and has their stuff together, is trying to. And they're all walks of life, people around my age, older people who this is their second career. So they knew what they needed to do to perform at that level. Undergrad, I did well, all of that, but I didn't, undergrad, you can maybe not go to class, do a few things, and still do well if you study.
And if you're undergrad listening to this, we do not recommend that. That's not a lawyer story.
Do not recommend that. I'm not saying I did it all the time.
Right.
But you get to a point where you feel comfortable and you got a good grade or whatever grade you want, and you're hanging out. It's undergrad. It's college. You are hanging out. You can not do that in law school. I mean, you have to find that happy bounce, and you have to find people that you trust. It's like to study with and learn with. It's different than study group and learning in college. Usually those are bigger groups, and people are working towards their careers. But when you get to, the second level of education, grad school or law school or medical school, whatever, you are with people who are like career. They're really focused on their career, and they're older and more mature. So there's just so much wisdom there. So I just couldn't do some of the stuff I was doing in undergrad that still allowed me to succeed in undergrad in law school. And I learned the hard way my first year. My grades weren't good. And my dad, people will hear this. I'm not going to tell you what he said, but he got me together and told me, look, this is your life. We've already lived our lives. You can't come back here, which was their house.
Right.
So I had to change what I was doing. And I had a good time in law school. I was at Michigan State. They were in the Final Four, and then they made it to the championship that year. So I got to experience that. I was studying with my brother. We would study together because he was an undergrad there. Okay. And I just had to, one thing my dad told me, I mentioned him a lot because he's been so influential, but
that's awesome.
You can be partying till 3 a.m. You can study till 3 a.m. But you can't do that every night, of course, but you need to be at the best, your peak mental and physical capabilities when you're in law school. And so I trained hard mentally and physically to get ready for the bar exam, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's
what the practicing.
I think one thing that I realized right when I got to law school was like time was so important.
I was going to add, yeah.
Like you just couldn't I was like, okay, if I want to finish this memo, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. And it's just like, it's like, I want to be done by 10, it's a whole time. The perspective of time for me just like completely changed. Like, and I noticed that within 2
Good point.
of law school. It's like, you sit down to do an assignment and you're like looking 6 hours ahead, to when you might be done. That was me anyway. I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's great. Like, it's great that your dad was like very influential, probably still is. I mean, I think, obviously you've done some good things, and it's very impressive. So, so law school, you finally, you kind of settled in, you got through it. And then what was your first job out of law school? First or second job, or the job? How about the job? Did you
9 years.
Did you start your firm right away?
No. Oh, I tried to. And what's funny is, I was thinking about the stuff about time management in law school, and that was right on, because I learned a lot about that too. But the other day I found, when I tried to start my own business, when I filed Secretary of State in 2011, right when I had passed the bar. And so I tried to go on my own, but there's just so many different things you have to know and learn as a business person. Actually, I learned a lot of that from talking to my dad and my mom, and my uncle who practices as well. He's an attorney in Philadelphia. Nice. And just things I didn't know. So I said, okay, I need to go work for somebody else and start aligning myself with the right people, so that eventually in the beginning it was an if, but that was really just the back of my mind tugging at me, like, you're going to have your own business, but you have to learn the path. You have to follow first before you lead. Right. That's how a lot of people get in trouble, and not necessarily trouble that people know about or bar license trouble, but they just mess up, lose money, don't make good decisions. So I was working at a law firm here in Atlanta, just doing document review.
Okay.
That allowed me to study for the bar exam. We're just literally just sitting there all day reviewing documents. And then
I did doc review for like a couple months.
That was a great job studying for the bar.
Yeah, I mean, if you could do both at once, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you, and same to you. I'm thinking, I've had
all right.
Years where I had a few jobs at once. I had 3 jobs at once, and I was still working retail.
Really?
Because I was trying to get that job. I worked at Swarovski Crystal Gallery in the mall. I worked at State Farm, and then I went to my job at another big law firm here, where they were doing document review, but then they started putting us on special projects, and that allowed me to see the big firm. So those were do you want me to say the names of the firms?
No. So let me move this a little bit forward. So when what does, first of all, like, what does being a lawyer mean to you?
Being a lawyer, what does it mean to me? It means literally having a front row seat to the greatest show on earth.
Wow. Okay. All right.
As a lawyer, you're held to this a standard that, I think you either, hold it, you cherish it, you hold it correctly, and you do great things with it, or, you take advantage of it and you don't.
Right.
And so there's just so many aspects of life and others' lives that you can touch, your own and other people's, that being in the legal profession, no matter what you're doing, practicing law, working for a big company, or, whatever it may be, that you can touch on and change and shape. And you can see that for generations and generations.
Yeah.
And having this degree, and I know you would agree with this, you can do so many things with it, and it gives you the way you think. It just allows you to just see things almost sometimes before they happen, and it can be an interesting conversation. So for me, it's just opened my eyes to be able to see the world, and know that my little piece can change something that can be, or someone that can be passed on for generations.
Right.
And so that's the legacy. It helps you create a legacy that will survive, when I leave this world.
Wow. Okay. That's all right. That's interesting. Yeah. So, no, it's a great response. I mean, that's a very, that's deep, it's profound. So like, tell us about your firm. Like, what areas do you specialize in? Where is your firm?
Okay, so our firm is in Atlanta, Georgia, right in the heart of Georgia. We're like in the old 4th Ward area. It's a area that's up and coming now. Anyone who knows Atlanta knows that area. We're right on Ponce de Leon, like by this huge new development called Ponce City Market. So we're right in the heat of things, the thick of things.
Really?
I mean, there used to be abandoned buildings, drug houses, seriously, that are now buildings that have like West Elm in it, and they're just built so much in Atlanta. What's going on down here. So my firm is called Stanton Worthy. My dear friend Shannon and I, we founded the firm at the end of 2016, and we specialize in bankruptcy and consumer law. That's the bulk of what we do. So small business bankruptcies and bankruptcies for individuals, people to file. And then we help people, work out debt, get rid of debt in other ways, maybe like a modification on their home or settling something if they haven't been given proper due process, helping them get cases dismissed against them, just like consumer stuff. Like
Are you in court a lot with that or no?
Well, no, the goal is, not to get to court, just to settle it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right now, clearly everything is, telephonic. But yes, bankruptcy, there are a couple, well, really just one mandatory hearing that we have to attend. So we do go to court in those matters. Right. But generally, we're able to resolve everything before and not have to go to court too much. There is court involved.
Okay.
But we also manage the Cochran Firm's bankruptcy division. That's how we met. I don't know if you want to get into that, but that's how we met, because we worked together, and she was my man. We were friends.
Oh yeah. My next question actually was like, how did you pick a law partner? I mean, you're pretty young. You do have some experience, but you're launching this firm, and obviously you're doing a great job because you're 3 years in right now. So how did you meet?
Long journey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How did you meet your partner?
Well, I'd say she picked me, or it was suggested to her, which I'm very thankful for. We were in court, and I was working for a firm where they just threw you in there. Hey, go to this hearing. So I was doing some hearings, and her and I just so we were working at competing firms, and her and I just started talking. I asked her a couple questions, and she helped me. She guided me along. We became friends, hung out. Became really close, and then she asked me if I wanted to come to her firm. I'd already been deciding that the firm I was with just wasn't a good fit for me.
Yep.
So went to her firm, which is the Cochran Firm. She was working as an associate. They did some moving around. She became the managing partner of the bankruptcy division for the Cochran Firm, and then I was one of her associate attorneys. Then, so we were doing that for about 2 years, and then her and I, we just were similarly situated as far as what our mind was thinking. We wanted to go out home. So we started Stanton Worthy, but it was just an idea.
Yeah.
And then the partners, the bosses, they wanted to get out of it. So they had offered the firm to Shannon as the managing partner. Suggested, that she take me on as partner. She asked me, I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did all the paperwork. Whoop, 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 whoop. Stanton Worthy, pushed on through.
Yeah.
Boom. And we became partners, 50-50. And we are partners in life and in business.
Very cool.
All right. Marital relationship.
Very nice. I like it.
I trust her with my life. She's called me her lifeline. And yes. And then
That's great. So cool. So tell me about, okay, so you do bankruptcy, consumer, the debt stuff. Is that UCC at all, or that's sale of goods, right? So that's.
Yeah, we deal with UCC liens and creditors that our clients owe because they put up some of their household goods or whatever it may be as collateral.
Right.
Loan, and then usually those are, we have to deal with those liens. So it's mostly bankruptcy. I've done, other areas of law. If something's presented to us and I can do it, I'll do it, but we don't really advertise for that, or we'll just refer it out. So I've done a lot of our DUIs and things of that nature, but our primary focus has been bankruptcy and just other areas in the consumer world.
Okay, so regarding this COVID-19 world pandemic.
Yeah.
Or pandemic, I should say. How have you been able to assist your clients during this crazy time?
Well, we were thinking about what we would need to do before, the courts and everyone stepped in. So we really just started, talking to people, talking to other attorneys and decision makers in our field to push them to allow us to not have to work within the requirements, because a lot of stuff has to be done in person, wet ink signatures,
right?
When you're filing or doing bankruptcies and other things in the law. So we were able to Now we don't have to do everything in person. So we're able to file bankruptcies and not have to get the wedding signatures from them. But thereafter, we have to file something with the court saying we did get their wet signature. So then we'll mail everything to them. So when it initially started, within a week or two, there was an order that was done by the Supreme Court that said, courts are shut down, certain things can be done electronically. And then the bankruptcy court did something as well so that we can do everything electronically. And then they started making all of the hearings telephonic. I mean, it was everything was real time. It was happening by the minute, by the day. I'm pausing a little bit because it was just happening so quick, and we had to. So what I did is I developed like a remote policy for our office. We're able to pretty much assess everything remotely, but we still had to figure out how our staff could do some things from home. So what Shannon and I did is we just shut things down for a week to assess how we could serve our clients.
Smart. Yep.
And we were just coming into the office, social distancing, and we were doing everything. So we were the legal assistant, the paralegal, and doing everything until we were able to make sure that everything could be done electronically.
Okay.
So to keep our clients safe. And then here, a lot of things were put on hold, like evictions, foreclosure, cars weren't being repossessed. Car creditors are allowing people to defer payments. So a lot of those things that are things that we help our clients with, we had to figure out, okay, if there is an immediate need, they're not going to need bankruptcy. So how else can we help them? So they may need to enter into loan modifications. A lot of our clients didn't understand what deferment meant. They weren't, their mortgage lender or whomever wasn't explaining to them, you got to pay this off later, or you have to, they thought it was being forgiven.
No.
So finding other ways to help them once it's over, because they're, behind or trying to catch up. Sometimes it's hard to catch up when you've been given that deferment time. And just explain to them that process. Filing a lot of stuff in court to excuse payments, because a lot of our clients lost their jobs temporarily or short time. So we've been able to get those done quickly without hearings. So that's been a way we've been able to help them as well.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going. Sorry.
No, that's great. I think everybody, like in the workplace, we all had to make adjustments, whether it's doing some work from home or staggering hours, wearing masks, first it was gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you get guidance every day from, your governor, whoever your governing authority is. So, it's a challenge, but you got to keep things moving forward. You got clients to take care of. And, I don't know, like you might get a lot of clients, it seems like, after this pandemic, because a lot of the small businesses might not survive. So, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess it's good and bad for you, but I mean, it's a hard time, it's definitely difficult. There's a lot of crazy things going on in this world. And I'm sure you and I could have another show on some of the other things happening right now, but, I'm definitely, I'm going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from that, because I think that's a very heated and passionate topic, those other topics happening. And I should say, as of this recording, it is May the 29th, 2020. So tell us, what do you do to stay like mentally in the game, physically in the game, like, feeling healthy outside of being an attorney?
Well, I know there's a lot of things that I think people in high impact positions like ourselves, there can be a lot of stress, attorneys, physicians. I mean, I can go on with the different careers. So I knew from the beginning, if I ever was really stressed or was having a hard time, because, we're a small business, so we've had months and long periods of time where we had to make sure we survive.
Right.
Our client survival literally depended on us surviving.
Right.
And just as Stanton and Worthy, but as individuals, making sure I am of sound mind and, you can't be when I say sound mind, you can't be not stressed all the time. That's just a part of life. And sometimes it could, right? So for myself, I just made sure I don't engage in activity that can like hinder my mental capabilities, which I think I am an adult, but I just didn't make sure I don't rely on in substance abusing, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I just work out a lot. I run, yoga, put healthy stuff in my body.
That's good.
And not a big, sweet eater, don't eat a lot of junk food. I just working out, some form of exercise.
Yeah.
I've actually started meditating a little bit.
Good for you.
Have you ever meditated, like a real meditation?
I don't know if I've done like an official, like real meditation. I've heard about it, but I've done some, things here and there.
When I say really meditate, I mean, you get to that point where it's just, you can't hear anything else. It's just quiet. It is amazing. So I can only do a few minutes. I'm working on it, but just, protecting my peace and knowing when to shut it off, because with being a lawyer, I'm sure you understand, and particularly in this area of law, a lot of things come at you, and you hear like about stories when people are at their worst. And my business partner always says this, that sometimes we're putting people back together.
Yeah.
With the filing of the bankruptcy, which doesn't have to be a bad thing, just restructuring, right? Doesn't mean the end of the
it's a second chance. It's another chance, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But some people feel like that, or they have to do that, or whatever we're helping them with, because something has happened. It may not even be bad in your eyes or my eyes, but it's a change. It can be a divorce. Maybe that's for the best, right? It's just something's changed in their life or their household.
Right.
So, I just know that if I make sure I'm okay, and I know when to cut that off, I was bringing it home a lot, and who checked me about that? My husband.
There you go.
And you're just talking about it because it's just a part of life, and your clients like you, and he didn't mind, but I started to see how some things were affecting me, and I was bringing it home. And it sounds so cliche. Don't bring work home. Don't bring work home.
Yeah, it's hard though. It's hard not to.
Who you are, right?
Yeah. But
there's a difference between bringing it home, but allowing it to affect you where you can't, there's just no stop. And so I've learned to set boundaries, and I had to do it with friends and family. How many people ask you for free legal advice that are friends and family?
Yeah, I get some here and there.
So, and that's fine. You're always going to, not always, but, you're sometimes going to give them something. But sometimes for me, I found when I'm giving them advice, they're arguing with me. You're not even my client. You are right.
They fire case law at you, right?
Exactly.
I don't think
so. That's a way.
This case law I found.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So they're setting boundaries. I'm going like this. I'm like setting this boundary of peace where it's not constant. I'll get calls. I told people, do not give my cell phone out. Some people still do it. Okay. Or, I won't answer and say, call the office, 404-800-6415.
Right. There you go. Speaking of your phone number, so how can people listening get a hold of Nicole Stanton?
Well, no, my office phone number, Stanton Worthy, it's 404-800-6415. My direct extension is 7001. 701.
And of course, you're on social media.
And our website. Yeah, I'm on social media. The business page is Stanton Worthy. I screen every follower. So we've got some interesting DMs. Stanton Worthy is not a DM slide page. No. It is for professional questions only.
Right,
and then we have a web page where, and that was another thing we did during this time, made us, better accessible, make sure we're accessible, Instagram, Facebook, and our web page. You can go in and put in your information, and we get an email, and we can respond right away.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
We respond right away.
That's great. Do you manage that mostly? You and your partner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have someone else who also, whenever we get anything through our webpage, sends it to us. But yes, I am always monitoring our social media outlets.
Good. So is there anything else? We're going to wrap things up. Is there anything else you want to say to the world, to the community, to the Lawyer Stories community?
Stay vigilant, stay strong, stay sane, take care of yourself and your business. If you ever want to reach out, I'm here. And, just encourage other people.
That's great. So if everybody out there has missed it before, Nicole was featured on Lawyer Stories August 7th, 2017, about a month after we launched Lawyer Stories. So we go back a few years. So excited to have her today on the show. And Lawyer Stories is at lawyer_stories on Instagram. We also have a Facebook, Lawyer Stories. We have a website, which we would love for you to submit a blog post if you'd like to. It's thelawyerstories.com. And now we have a podcast, and we hope to keep growing this podcast and growing Lawyer Stories. And, we have amazing community members who contribute wonderful things like Nicole over here. So if you need bankruptcy, consumer issues, contact Nicole Stanton Worthy. And this has been the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold, episode 13. Wherever you are in the world today, everybody, enjoy yourselves and be safe out there. Cheers.
Cheers.
The Lawyer Stories podcast is produced by Marketing the Law. Are you looking at your social presence every day? Potential clients are. Learn how to magnetize your brand with the help of Marketing the Law. Find us on Instagram at Marketing the Law to learn more.